Hello and welcome back to Smash Hit Sports. We have an unbelievable slate of games ahead of us, and week 6 happened. It was beautiful. It was a great week 6. Not for me personally. My team's playoff hopes are dead. I'm dead. Everything sucks, and I hate this stupid sport. But God damn it, that's college football for you. It is a fickle beast. Nick, do you want to? I should probably just rip the Band-Aid off, right?
What, and talk about Notre Dame? Or?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll just say welcome to the 3-2 squad. We hate it here.
We're 4-2. Okay.
You're 4-2?
Yep.
All right.
We won week 0, so get off my ass.
Welcome to the 2-loss squad.
Yeah.
Point is, it sucks. It's not fun. But like you're saying, like it's college football for you. Like I found myself even Clemson looked shitty against Wake Forest.
Yep.
The Clemson season doesn't even fucking matter at this point. My gambling day we'll get into shortly, but I didn't end up winning any money, and I ended up having like the most amazing time watching the college football games. Whereas NFL Sunday, like my fantasy teams, some of them won, some lost, but the Ravens looked miserable. And I just remember thinking like, I fucking don't want to watch this shit anymore. I'm so upset. But college football, I was like, this is the best thing ever. So it just shows you college football is the real deal.
Yeah, the beauty of college football is even though I feel bad about my team, I know there are several teams who feel that much worse, and I can take solace in that, you know? With that being said, Notre Dame's playoff hopes are officially dead. They have 2 losses. A 2-loss team has never made the college football playoff, and they definitely won't this year with how crazy this year has been. Notre Dame's loss, Sam Hartman didn't play well, right? That being said, there were a lot of things that went wrong. The play calling it was bad. It was flat out bad. And Notre Dame has a pride problem, and their pride that brought them down to their knees is that they think that they are the best program in the world. And that is not the case. There are about 3 programs realistically who can say that. It's Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. Outside of that, there isn't a program in college football who can kind of rest back and say, we think we're better. That happened with, and maybe that's an entirely separate video I got to make, but how Notre Dame's AD handled their offensive coordinator hire in the offseason and all of that. Ultimately, that's what killed us. And it's brutal. It sucks. Now, does this mean I'm down on the Irish the rest of the year? No. I still think 9-3 is absolutely on the table. Shit, I think 10-2 is still on the table. Honestly, I think we can win out. It's certainly in the cards, but damn it, is it going to be difficult? The win total at the beginning of the year was 8. I still feel really good about that 8. I still think, if we end up 9-3, 10-2, it's one of those things where you want to see progression under Marcus Freeman. And while I will say that we have seen progression, it's not every year you're going to bring in the best quarterback in the history of the ACC. You know, statistically speaking, obviously Trevor Lawrence was way better, Deshaun Watson way better, Lamar Jackson way better, but you aren't going to bring in a transfer quarterback like that every year. So Notre Dame has some things that they're going to have to figure out. The rest of this season, we're going to be playing for the fucking Pop-Tart Bowl or whatever the hell it is. So yeah, yep, that sucks. I hate it.
It's interesting because I'm noticing a little bit of overlap between Clemson and Notre Dame that I just haven't, because I don't talk to Notre Dame people, or I haven't before we started this podcast. But Clemson, like you're kind of saying, Notre Dame just got cocky, I guess, a little bit, and just didn't make the right decisions in the offseason as far as coaching and blah, blah, blah. And I noticed that, like, for a while, you could have said the 4 best programs in college football was Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Clemson.
I almost included Clemson when I said that, and then I was like, actually, they did the same fucking thing we did. They sat back and they said,
like, well, but then, Trevor Lawrence goes to the draft, and it's like, well, all right, Brent Venables is gone, Tony Elliott's gone, let's hire some guy who has no coaching experience, but, like, he's Clemson family, and, like, we're Clemson, we can do it, we can promote from within and be fine. No, like, you still have to take everything very seriously, which, we're still having some, residual drawbacks from those 2 years where Dabo just got cocky.
Yep.
And he's still a little bit cocky, but.
Oh, yeah. But he
hired Garrett Riley. That was like a sign of like, shit, my bad.
Yeah.
Let me go get the best OC out there.
Now, this doesn't mean dead forever. It just means dead currently. So we'll see. Let's go to a fan base that has to feel way shittier than Notre Dame does, and that's Miami. That was single-handedly the dumbest coaching decision I've ever seen. And I understand why he did it. And the reasoning behind why he did it was his running back was at like 99 yards, and he wanted to get him 100. You're a player's coach. I get that. But holy shit, dude. In a one-possession game, you cannot fucking do that. I know that some people are like, that's a fireable offense. I think I might have tweeted that out. That being, it's not, right? He's fine. Like, Cristobal's not going anywhere. But they had an opportunity to be undefeated going into an undefeated matchup against a conference opponent in North Carolina this weekend in what would have been probably the second biggest game of the weekend. Like, Oregon-Washington is number one. That would have been the second biggest game of the weekend. Two undefeated conference opponents playing each other. I mean, it absolutely would have been. And now it's not. Now it's not at all. And that's just sad. Miami, their season took a massive, massive hit. Because Georgia Tech lost to Bowling Green. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Bowling Green's one win is Georgia Tech. It shocked me when it happened. The only thing I can try to compare it to is last year, the Patriots-Raiders game.
Oh, that backwards lateral pass.
And then Jacoby Myers throws it right to Taylor Jones. But even then, it's okay. Well, my thing is why the hell are you running a lateral play when it's tied?
Yeah. I think that was a player mistake, not Belichick told them to do that. And for context, what we're talking about.
But I feel like Belichick, in reality, or even if there's no way if it's tied, throw the Hail Mary. I know Belichick was well, we didn't think he could throw it that far, which is hilarious because Mac Jones not being able to throw 50 yards is really funny. But it's you can scour through all of the devastating football losses that I've witnessed or we've witnessed in our lifetimes. And yeah, this Miami one is right up there with some of the worst I've ever seen.
Yep.
Miami moneyline bettors, that's one of the worst bad beats of all time. I would be beside myself. But it was pretty funny as a neutral fan.
As a Catholics versus convicts hater, you know what I mean? As a Miami University hater, thank God. I'm glad that we had something else to talk about outside of Notre Dame's terrible loss. For that being said, for those of you who we just did that whole spiel and didn't explain what happened, Miami had the ball. They had 34 seconds left. They could have just taken a knee and won the game. They ran it instead. Running back fumbled. Georgia Tech scored in 2 plays or whatever, and they lost the football game. Hilarious.
It's so crazy. Not only did they fumble, but Georgia Tech had no timeouts and had to go 75 yards in 30 seconds.
It was.
That should never, ever be able to happen. And it did. It's part of me is all right, Cristobal might have even thought, if we fumble, we're still
we're still
win.
Good. Yeah.
Whatever. Let's get the guy 100 yards. You can almost throw it backwards. We're still going to win.
Yeah.
And they didn't. So, yeah, I think, obviously Cristobal is I'm giving him the dun chain. He's officially a moron. But it's definitely the whole team's fault. What are you doing on defense? Crazy.
A lot of questionable football. Let's talk about the Oklahoma Sooners, Texas, the Red River Shootout. It showed exactly why rivalry games are some of the best part of college football. This game was intense down to the last minute. Ewers, 2 early interceptions, but outside of that, he played okay. That being said, you want to talk about a guy playing with his fucking balls hanging out. Dylan Gabriel, dude. What a game for that man. And Brent Venables coached like he his life was on the line if he didn't win that game, and who knows, maybe it was, but he coached his ass off, and Sark kind of coached like a soft little pansy ass, and he did. At the end of that game, like, they had an opportunity to put their foot on Oklahoma's throat and win it. And he didn't do that. He played soft. He played scared. Because they kicked that field goal, and I think Oklahoma had like a minute 30 left on the clock. That's a move that you do when there's 30 seconds left on the clock, or like 25 seconds left on the, like, that was he gave his kicker like a, hey, go win it for us type of thing. That's a lot of time left in college football, especially when the clock stops after your first downs. You can't do that. And like, that's soft code. Like, and I think Oklahoma won this game more than Texas lost it. Like, Oklahoma, what Dylan Gabriel did, what that offense did, the defense made plays when they had to. Like, they turned over Quinn Ewers. What a hell of a football game. I mean, this is why we watch.
I feel like both teams it's one of those games where both teams won, but someone had to lose. I don't hate, how Sark was. Like, I kind of like the idea of having confidence in your defense and not showing a sign of like, oh, I'm worried. Like, if we're gonna leaving them too much time. Like, I get it, because again, when you have a defense like Texas's, you're supposed to be able to stop them from scoring a touchdown at the end of the game when they have a minute and like no timeouts. So that was the one thing where I was just like, what a collapse by Texas just on that final drive. But it was also just Dylan Gabriel being, he went God mode. He went sicko mode. But yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic game that I feel like I don't want to punish or reward either team that much. Like, they both should just be right smack dab in the middle of like the contention pile. And odds are, because the Big 12 sucks ball sack, they're going to play again.
Yeah, so I think it is damn near set in stone at this point that these two teams are going to play each other, especially Kansas State was my dark horse to win the conference before the year started. That loss to Oklahoma State on Friday night was brutal. Had I known that Oklahoma State was going to go with the All Blacks, that's a uniform bet. That's on me. I fucked up. I didn't know that the uniforms were going to be the All Blacks beforehand. That's my fault. I fucked up on that bet. That being said, they're going to play again. This game is going to come down to the last possession again, and I can't wait. It's going to be great. So you have both teams are still contenders in your eyes? Is that
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, so my Big 12 predictions that we did earlier are like, honestly, like very close to accurate right now, just because like I had Texas Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game.
Yep.
I think I had Oklahoma winning the first game. Then I was like, oh, I'm going to have Oklahoma lose to like UCF, who I think they're playing this week maybe. And then, like they're just going to reconvene and chaos is going to ensue, but none of the other teams in that conference are going to be good enough. And a one-loss Big 12 champ, in most scenarios gets in.
Yep.
Or
and I think
Oklahoma could still go undefeated and get in. So.
Yep. You'll love to see it. Last team I want to talk about, Bama beat Texas A&M at Kyle Field. It was a pretty back and forth game, but at the end of the day, like, Alabama did what Alabama does, and that's win the damn football game. And I think a lot of people wrote off Alabama way too quickly. Myself included. I wrote off Alabama a little bit. I was like, this ain't the year. That being said, they still got a lot of schedule in front of them. They still got to play LSU. They're still going to have to play, Auburn. They still have the, conference championship game ahead of them that they will have to win that game in order to make it into the college football playoff. They're not getting in with 2 losses this season. So Bama's back though. Like I'm done sleeping on them.
No, I know. And I do think both of us were kind of saying, like, it's just not going to be Bama's year, which was a bit premature. But I also think neither of us were like, well, Bama's bad. Like we were like, well, Texas is a really good team that they lost to. Like, they could easily still win out. It's just we didn't think that they looked that good, and they've kind of turned it around a little bit. I'm still not like, this is not the Bama of old.
Yes.
But
yes,
road win against Texas A&M, and I think I was saying it was going to be we both said it was going to be a toss-up. I went Bama, you went A&M, but it kind of played out that way. Ole Miss, they looked really good against, but like, there's still a lot to be seen. Like I haven't felt like, oh, Bama, whoa, we were so wrong. Like, they are dominant. They're a college football player. I think they just had, a couple good wins in a row, but they still have one loss. So,
yep, and a lot of football left to be played. Talk about your mega teaser. You do it every week.
Yeah, dude,
and
this was
holy shit, you were so close, bro.
This is unbelievable. Like, I do this, and I post it on Instagram. I'm like, all right, I'm going to give out $100 if it hits. It's fun because odds are it doesn't. But, like, if it does, people get to, like, root for it, and it's fun for everyone. Now, deep down, I don't think any part of me, this is, like, the fifth one I've done, I don't think any part of me has ever been like, it's actually going to hit. And it kind of, like, by the skin of its teeth, made it past, like, Maryland plus 23.5.
Yep.
Which,
a lot of close ones.
That was, yeah, like Texas, Oklahoma, the under 65.5. It ended at 64. LSU, Missouri was really back and forth. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Toledo was struggling with UMass. Marshall had to get like a fourth down touchdown with a minute left to cover against NC State. So I was kind of like, wait a fucking second. Like, I actually looked pretty good. Like, all the 3 o'clock games were, like, UAB was crushing South Florida. Everything was locked in. So I get to the night games. I'm like, I might actually do this. And of course, Kentucky gets swallowed up by Georgia. Helps that it wasn't even close, because if it was like, oh, Kentucky was covering in last second like Georgia,
yeah,
like, dude, I actually probably would have like needed therapy. But it helps that I was just dead wrong about that. But then I'm like, okay, Colorado's losing to Arizona State. Ole Miss is beating Arkansas pretty well. Cal is kind of getting shit on by Oregon State. Something else is going to lose, and it'll make me feel better that I went like 15 for 17. But no, nothing else lost. And I went to bed, like, if I just didn't put Kentucky in there out of 17 games, I normally do 16, so I could have easily taken one out. If it was Kentucky, I would have, won, like many thousands of dollars.
That's brutal. It's brutal. So
just crazy. It's crazy what it is.
Yeah. Hey, this is the week though. I feel it. I feel confident that this is the week. Going into our picks record for last week, I went 9-3. You went 7-5. That gives me now a 6-game lead on the season. Anything you have to say for yourself?
I need to get crazy. I need to eat into the crazy so I can make some of these losses back. So we're going to differ a little bit here.
All right. Well, what I'm hearing is that you are so back. Just so back.
What? Yeah. Maybe.
So let's get
that confidence though.
Let's get into this week's predictions. Looking at this slate of games, like the noon slate sucks. It's bad. A lot of huge favorites early. I know Florida State is like a 20-point favorite. The game we're going to talk about here is a 19.5-point favorite. Not a lot of great noon games. So if there's ever a weekend that you're going to try to get your apple picking done, all right, go get the cider, pick out the pumpkins, all right, get that done early, right?
Yeah,
if you finish up by 2 o'clock, you'll be all right. You get to watch the end of the noon games and then roll in, before the 3:30 slate kicks off, because that slate, we've got some games.
There's also, I feel like, if you're not an apple picking type of lad, this is kind of the night where it's like, okay, Friday night, I'll lose my mind. Like, I'll have an out of body, out on the town, get home at 5, like literally just peak college life type shit, and then you can sleep in, totally rest, reset, recover without having to worry about anything until 3:30, which is really nice. So like that's kind of where I'm at mentally.
Yeah, this is also a great Friday into Saturday night to be hungover. They're also, we're recording this on Tuesday, but there's college football games every night this week. So horny. I mean, I love it.
Wait, is there a game tonight?
Yeah, Louisiana Tech, App State, and Coastal play tonight. So,
all right.
Yeah, let's.
We gotta see it. This is like the sports. Like everyone knows, like October is just sports galore.
Yeah.
Because like the Orioles are in a win or go home game that I really
that's what
watch.
everybody. Right, the Orioles. That's what everybody thinks when we think October sports.
Yeah. Yeah, but like that is like I was so locked in gonna watch that, but there's college football on. Might have to double TV it or something.
Yep. All right, let's get into the Saturday games. Arkansas at Alabama. Kept this game on here more for, hey, is Alabama back? Like, watch that. Also, Arkansas is very close to, like, I think fans are up to their necks with Sam Pittman. So, something to keep an eye on. If this game gets ugly, ew.
Yeah, Arkansas has definitely been disappointing because they have a lot of talent, and I think they can hang in there if they really want to, but they just like have looked like they don't want to. So I mean, pretty obvious. It's a 20-point spread, the same spread that Maryland got against Ohio State, which just bothers me. But again, of course, Maryland didn't even cover that. Yeah. So Vegas knows, but. Yeah, going Alabama here.
Yeah, I'm going Alabama as well. Also, before we get into the next slate of games, make sure you guys like the video. Let's see if we can break the record for likes. I think the most likes I've ever had on a video is like 150, at least for the podcast. So let's see how many likes we can get this week.
151.
Let's go. Hey, we're moving up. Just so you, the listeners, know, our audience is growing every week, and it's been awesome. So thank you.
Yeah.
Be a friend, tell a friend, all that good stuff.
Trying to get to 300.
Yep. The game of the weekend, though, Oregon-Washington. This game is in Seattle. You got the sailgating going on. It's a 3:30 kickoff. You have two Heisman contending quarterbacks in Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. You have a phenomenal head coach in Kalen DeBoer and Dan Lanning matchup. You get great wide receivers, great weapons. Bucky Irving, a great running back for Oregon. These defensive lines can get after the quarterback. They have some decent guys in the secondary. This game's going to be unbelievable to watch. I cannot wait.
Yeah, so our buddy Chase at Showtime College Football, I was on his pod yesterday, and we were talking about this game, and both of us were like, well, we like Washington a lot. They're like, I'm definitely going to pick them, blah, blah, blah. But then we kind of had like a moment where we took a step back and we were like, I feel like maybe everyone really likes Washington. They feel fun. They feel electric. They feel exciting. Oregon has kind of gone through that era, that phase of being the new cool team. And now people are a little more tired of them. People are like, oh, Washington's at home. Like I'm kind of guessing that Washington's going to be a public darling. And then I look at the spread and it's, the home field advantage spread, that like Oregon would actually maybe be like a very slight favorite on a neutral site, according to Vegas, which is interesting to me. And I just think that people are doubting Oregon a little bit. Not a lot of people are saying, like, when you're doing, if the college football playoffs started today, some people are like, well, Washington should be in. Nobody's saying Oregon should be in. Even in the predictions, no one has Oregon in. Some people have Washington in. And they're kind of the same team, but Oregon might have a better defense. They probably do.
I do think Oregon has a better defense. I agree with you there.
Right. So it's like I really like Washington, and trust me, I will be happy if Washington wins because like out of the top 10 right now, I think the only team that I would be like, this is great that they won it all is Washington. But for game picks and for like gambling brain, I'm going with Oregon money line.
Fair enough. So for what it's worth, these bets are split almost 50-50 at the moment. So
at the moment.
At the moment. That being said, I like Washington. Purely, I think their wide receivers on the outside, I know Romeo and they have
Jalen
yeah,
McMillan.
yep. They've been so good all year. And I think this is a game that comes down to the last possession. I think it's going to be incredible. I'm going to go with Washington. This game is going to be must watch. We are starting to get right into the Pac-12 eating themselves alive portion of the
There.
schedule for them. It's going to be so much fun.
We're there. We just haven't seen like the top 3 teams haven't been eating each other, but Oregon State, UCLA, and Utah.
Yep.
And
Washington State.
Like they've been devouring each other left and right, just how we all expected. So
yep. Cannot wait. The other, from a gambling perspective, we're going to push our gambling picks kind of into the place today just because it's some time stuff. I love under 67 in this game. Oregon is 1-4 to the over. Washington 2-3 to the over. 77% of the bets are on the over. I'm all over this under. I think people are going to see 2 Heisman quarterbacks, great weapons, like phenomenal numbers. These teams have put up great numbers all year, but also look at their defenses. Their defenses have held teams tremendously this season. 67. I mean, this could be a 31-28 ball game and go under. Like, that's very realistic.
Yeah, go under pretty handily. This is one that this will be in my teaser 100%. I'll take the under in that teaser because you could get it up to 73.
Yeah.
And like have a 38-35 final score, something outrageously high scoring that like, sneaks in a win column for you.
Yep.
So I like that.
All right, next game, Texas A&M at number 19 Tennessee. I think this is fraud watch. I think Tennessee has somehow kept in the top 20, and it's by no merit of their own design. They have a loss to a Florida team that has now lost to both Utah and who's Florida's other loss? Kentucky, right? And that Kentucky team did not look worth a shit against Georgia. Texas A&M, they have 2 losses, but their 2 losses are to Miami, who outside of last weekend has looked pretty good all year, and Alabama by a touchdown or so. I think Tennessee is a little too cocky. I think this is a little too they're a little too confident in their defense for some reason, because I've seen their fans flaunt, oh, we got a top 5 defense in the SEC. Based on what? You've played Virginia and Graham Mertz, like God for Austin, PA. Wow. You've really stopped some powerhouses. Give me Texas. I think Texas wins this game outright, even though they're underdogs. I will be betting on Texas A&M money line. Give me Texas by a touchdown. Or Texas A&M. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I'm going Tennessee here. Yeah, I mean, so like I just love the SEC on CBS games, but I wasn't that impressed with Texas A&M post Connor Wegman. I know Alabama's defense is really good, but I'm just like not like I feel like a lot of teams or a lot of people are saying, they hung in there with Alabama and they're going to be good and blah blah blah. I don't know. I still like Tennessee. I still think Tennessee is going to be, a top 25 team at the end of the year. I know like you're kind of more down on them than I am, but if they're getting 3.5, especially, you can tease that to plus money. I like Tennessee here at home.
Yep. Moving on to a Big 12 matchup, we have ranked Kansas, which is 5-1 and totally normal, and at OK State. Oklahoma State's a 3.5-point dog. What are your thoughts on this one?
I don't really understand why Kansas is ranked. Again, right before that Texas game, they almost got smoked, or they almost lost to Nevada, who's the worst team, maybe the worst team in college football. They were like down late. And when I was watching a little bit of that game, I was like, oh God, Kansas stinks. And then they go into Texas and they lose by 26. They don't cover the spread. Yes, they crushed UCF. I do think Kansas is good, but I don't think they're rank worthy. I also don't think Oklahoma State's very good. It's kind of a trappy line. But I'll probably. Oh God, actually, this is really tough. I feel like I've faded Kansas a bit too much. As far as like in my teasers and whatnot, so I'm going to go with Kansas here as far as game picks go.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kansas as well. I think Kansas has a fairly decent resume. I mean, they have wins over Illinois, BYU, and UCF. I mean, not powerhouses by any means, but that's 3 Power 5 wins, which is more than a decent handful of teams have.
UCF or Illinois freaking stinks.
Yeah, and UCF might stink and BYU might stink. But that being said, like, they're not terrible. I think Oklahoma State is like night game, Friday night, awesome atmosphere. Now you're going to have to come back and do it again at 3:30 on a Saturday. Give me Kansas. I think this is a game for for Oklahoma State to kind of fall back down. I don't believe in them long term.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I agree.
Florida, South Carolina. I put this game on here because I think it's going to be which team is more dog shit. And I think that.
No, I was going to put this on here if you didn't. I was going to demand this be on, because this is a big game every year.
Yep.
This game matters. Both teams obviously aren't that good, but I'm excited. I'm excited for it regardless.
Yeah, and I've got the Cox winning this one. It's Cocktober.
Yeah.
You can't bet against the Cox in Cocktober, so that and it's Graham Mertz. I'm not going to put my money on Graham Mertz, so give me South Carolina.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going South Carolina, especially at a -2 line. Again, we saw them. They beat Mississippi State. They held it really close with Georgia. Yes, they lost to Tennessee by a lot, but I do kind of believe what Spencer Rattler was saying about how that was like Tennessee's
Super Bowl,
get-up game. Yeah, it's just like they wanted to beat us so fucking bad because we kicked them out of the playoffs last year. It's like, yeah, fair. I'd want to beat you too, and they did. But like, I'm still a believer that South Carolina is could get to 8 wins this season. It'd be pretty crazy if they did, but I think they could. And it starts here with this Florida game at home. And it's the lovely, beautiful SEC on CBS game. So,
gotta love it. Next game, actually a huge Big Ten West matchup. I think, I very easily think the winner of this game will win the Big Ten West. I don't think that it's really that much up for debate. It's Iowa at Wisconsin, 4:00 kickoff. The total for this game is 36.5. And if that ain't Big Ten West football, I don't know what is. That being said,
I actually kind of like the over in that, just because Wisconsin's defense isn't great.
That's disgusting, and I hate it. Give me Wisconsin. Ew, dude. I can't bet that over.
Well, I'm definitely taking Wisconsin for game picks, but Wisconsin's defense isn't very good. So, yeah, I mean, I can see 2017. That's kind of what they're predicting. I absolutely see that. So, yeah, especially if you tease it down. I definitely think Wisconsin has a leg up on everyone in the Big Ten West. So I'd be shocked if Iowa won, because then it's like, wait, what the hell? Like, anything could happen.
Yep.
At that point. So I hope Wisconsin wins.
Yep. I think this is a program-defining win for Luke Fickell. Let's talk a little Mountain West. Wyoming at Air Force. Air Force is a 10.5-point favorite. These have been 2 of the best-looking group of 5 teams in the country. Wyoming has looked phenomenal the last couple of weeks. A great win over Fresno State last weekend as a 5.5-point underdog. And now they play Air Force. And I think this is going to be a really fun game. I like Air Force. But damn it, this is going to be a really fun football game, dude.
I didn't know what the spread was, because like I hadn't looked. And I thought it was going to be, I was like, Air Force is free. They're absolutely going to win. People like on 3 and ESPN College Football, they're like, oh, well, Wyoming, like we're predicting Wyoming to be the team in the Fiesta Bowl this year. Like, they're the best group of 5 team. It's like, I get it. I also love Wyoming, but Air Force is basically a Power 5 team. honestly, they're like a good Power 5 team. Like, they're a really good team.
Their defense is
And Wyoming,
stifling.
dude, Air Force is so good. Wyoming, I think if they were playing at home, if maybe this was later in the season and everyone knew both these teams were really good, I can see Wyoming getting up, winning that game. But Air Force, this is Air Force's prove it game because they get to go beat the team that's getting all the public love. So I'm in love with Air Force this week. And I hope I'm right because I want to see Air Force in like a New Year's Six Bowl. That'd be really cool.
Yep, that would be really cool. Moving on to a great ranked matchup, 7:30 kickoff. This is the fourth consecutive night game for Notre Dame. USC at Notre Dame. Notre Dame opens as a 2.5-point favorite. Are you surprised?
No. Well, if I'm surprised about anything, I honestly think Notre Dame should be maybe a little bit more of a favorite.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, when I look at it, like if you didn't ask me the spread, I probably would have said, or if you asked and I didn't know the spread, I would have said like Notre Dame -4. Because USC has not done any. Like USC is ranked 10 solely because they're undefeated, but like they've just been dropping in everyone's rankings because it's like, holy shit, another win. They barely escaped. And normally when you see like the Vikings, for instance, last year, where they're winning everything like in really tight games, and then they get to like a huge, big time game, and they lose.
It's a playoffs game. Playoffs against the Giants.
Yeah, they lose because they're like, well. So I think this for USC is that, and I think Vegas knows that. I'm still undecided on what I want to do though, because like I still like USC. I really think they have it in them, and part of me is saying, well, because we haven't seen them play anyone, maybe they're the type of team. Like every few years, you get a team that just plays up to their competition and plays down to their competition, and maybe USC is just living that life. I doubt it because we do know Lincoln Riley as a head coach, but I think it's very possible that USC just goes out and shows the world, like, wait, we are really fucking good. Like, hold on here. So I'm still kind of undecided. I'll let you go through your spiel first.
Yeah, I got to take Notre Dame here. It is solely because USC, like now that we look back on it, has not played anyone. And they've played a lot of close games. They were tight with Arizona State. They went into triple overtime with Arizona. They were within a touchdown of Colorado. Turns out this Alex Grinch's defense is terrible. And say what you will about Notre Dame, they are a physical football team. I think they out-physical USC. I think they get the win at home. Notre Dame's been great at home under Marcus Freeman for the most part. Lost to Marshall, lost to Stanford, whatever. But they played them close last year. I think Notre Dame gets the win this time, and USC wakes up a little bit.
Yeah, and I really like that. But again, I am kind of behind you in the standings now, so I've decided because of that, I'm going to go with USC. Because again, I think it could go either way, and games like that, I kind of need to take risks.
Yep. We got two more ranked matchups, so we're going to hit those two matchups. Miami UNC. UNC's a 3.5-point favorite. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I think Drake May and UNC, I think they dismantle Miami. I thought that before Miami was going to lose, that UNC was just a significantly better team. I still think that. Give me Drake May and the Tar Heels in this one.
Yeah, I think like after losing in the way Miami just lost, going into a UNC team that is riding kind of like a confidence high right now, they smoked Syracuse. Their offense is clicking. It's a night game. UNC is going to care a lot. I have UNC. Yeah, like there's just no way Miami can like win a huge game on the road after the players were like crying on the sidelines, like they're just confused. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think that took a major took the wind out of that Miami team.
At least for this week, like it's a rogue. Like I just can't see it this week. I do think Miami's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But this will be like just like they're going to lose this one.
Yep. 2 games I want to briefly touch on. Missouri at Kentucky, I think it's a huge game for the East at Kroger Field. Should be a fun one. I have Missouri in this matchup. Should be a good game. And then NC State at Duke. Riley Leonard has not been announced out for Duke. However, if he doesn't play, this game could be a dogfight. Give me Duke still, but just a game to keep an eye on because NC State could be could be a one-loss team headed into the Florida State game. That would be huge for the ACC. So something to watch.
Yeah, I mean, as far as NC State, MJ Morris there, kind of like new QB, impressed the hell out of me against Marshall.
He was so much better than Brennan Armstrong. So much better.
Oh my God. I mean, I was just like, wow, NC State's offense is awake. And I feel like it just rubbed off on everyone. So I think NC State might be like, they might go on a sneaky little run of good football. So I have them beating Duke here. Again, if Riley Leonard plays, it's different. I would have to reconsider it, but assuming he's not going to, I feel pretty good about NC State in this game.
Yep.
I really like them. And then Missouri, Kentucky. I don't like either team. I think both are overrated, but give me Kentucky at home.
Fair enough. And then the last ranked matchup of the evening, UCLA at Oregon State. Both of these teams have one loss. UCLA with the home win over Washington State last weekend. This should be a really fun game. I think it continues to be the home team wins these matchups. So I got to go with Oregon State here. Corvallis is a tough place to play, man, and Jonathan Smith is a hell of a coach. Give me the Beavers.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy trend that these home teams are so dominant so far in all these ranked Pac-12 matchups, which makes me think maybe taking Oregon at Washington is stupid, but the trend has to end at some point. There's no way every home team wins. So.
True.
But yeah, I'm going Oregon State as well. I was actually, for the first time, I'm willing to say DJU looked good. He looked good. I'm
glad you've come around, Nick. That's growth.
Yeah.
That's growth.
Not great. He didn't look great, but he looks good. So good for him. Good for Oregon State, playing a pretty bad defense there in Cal. I know I said I would fade Oregon State every single game. I want to, but DJ he looked good.
Yep.
So.
All right. So due to some scheduling constraints, we're not able to do the hot takes or the best bets for this weekend. However, right, we always respond to some hot takes on our social media platforms. So make sure you go give us a follow there. Nick's is at nickduringtheday. All of those are always linked in the description of this video. I'm at Smash Hit Sports. Our best bets, we always put our best bets out as well. So make sure you guys are following along. You don't want to miss the mega teaser when the mega teaser hits. The mega teaser is going to hit, and you don't want to be not on board of the mega teaser when it cashes. So
you could get $100 and go get yourself something nice.
Yep.
And have fun following along. We'll see.
Yep.
It got real close this past week, guys. Real close. But thanks for listening, and we will see you next week, right?
Yep. We'll see you in the next one.